Nigeria, the economy Nigerian needs to break forth, and more. Keynote speakers: Ifesimama Precious Sekebo, FCIB, PhD, Professor Oyelowo E. Oyewo, SAN, Dr. Ambassador Victoria Ekomo, and Pastor Itwa Ighodalo. Date: Monday, 13th June 2022. Time: 11 a.m. Venue: Aztec Acom Event Center, 77 Ken Saruwiwa Road, Former Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. For more details, call 0704-213-2217 or 0817-966-8251. Visit the website www.theforumnigeria.com. The Forum is organized by the Men's League of Christ Church, Port Harcourt. The Forum 2022, a one-day international colloquium with a theme, What do Nigerians want? Discussions will focus on the president Nigeria needs, restructuring and true federalism, the state of insecurity in Nigeria, the economy Nigeria needs to break forth, and more. Keynote speakers: Ifesimama Precious Sekebo, FCIB, PhD, Professor Oyelowo E. Oyewo, SAN, Dr. Ambassador Victoria Ekomo, and Pastor Itwa Ighodalo. Date: Monday, 13th June 2022. Time: 11 a.m. Venue: Aztec Acom Event Center, 77 Ken Saruwiwa Road, Former Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. For more details, call 0704-213-2217 or 0817-966-8251. Visit the website www.theforumnigeria.com. The Forum is organized by the Men's League of Christ Church, Port Harcourt. The Forum 2022, a one-day international colloquium with a theme, What do Nigerians want? Discussions will focus on the president Nigeria needs, restructuring and true federalism, the state of insecurity in Nigeria, the economy Nigeria needs to break forth, and more. Keynote speakers: Ifesimama Precious Sekebo, FCIB, PhD, Professor Oyelowo E. Oyewo, SAN, Dr. Ambassador Victoria Ekomo, and Pastor Itwa Ighodalo. Date: Monday, 13th June 2022. Time: 11 a.m. Venue: Aztec Acom Event Center, 77 Ken Saruwiwa Road, Former Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. For more details, call 0704-213-2217 or 0817-966-8251. Visit the website www.theforumnigeria.com. The Forum is organized by the Men's League of Christ Church, Port Harcourt.
This time we would like to go into the discussion session, and we have our discussants here already seated. They've been introduced, so I will just ask them one after the other to give us their thoughts on the topics that have been assigned to them. So I would like to start with Dame Aleruchi Kukigam.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'll just say Happy Democracy Day, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and indeed an honor to be here. And it's been a learning process because we have all learned so much from our keynote speakers. Let me particularly acknowledge my keynote speaker. I'm supposed to be commenting on his paper, Right Reverend Professor Dapo Asaju. This morning, I had the privilege of reading your paper, and I went up to you and I said, Professor, you have covered the field. I want to thank you for an inspirational paper. Before I got your paper, my thoughts were, what message do I want to drive? And I felt that key amongst all of it should be to ask the Christian community and the church to speak out. I want to say that you spoke out loud and clear. And we should see more of that, because the trials and tribulations of the Christians and mind disturbing at this time. So I want to thank you especially. I have also noted the 20 points of what we want. But I want to place some caution. I want to say first and foremost that I am a Christian and I have also had the opportunity of being a politician. And I want to observe that in the last 22 years of the Fourth Republic, we have had countless Christians participate in politics. And part of the ills that trail us today is because of some of the acts of us that are Christians in politics. So it's very important that we drive home the point that, yes, I had as part of my contributions that Christians must arise and participate fully and effectively in politics. But having said that, we must show our true color as Christians. We must show ourselves as the light and the salt of the earth. We must not pay lip service to the fact that we're Christians. Otherwise, we would go nowhere. Our nation is at this moment in a very sorry state. And we really need to be solemn and ask ourselves a few questions. This is not a time for us to play politics. It's not a time for the major political players to take anything as politics, particularly the insecurity. I'm alarmed. I haven't had the opportunity of getting security reports to know the extent to which we are all at risk. And I want to say that let us solemnly ask ourselves, what are our roles as individuals? I know that your paper dealt considerably on the public sector and the actors in the public sector and the politicians. But let me go to my brother George and say that the private sector has greatly impacted our nation. A lot of us in this room may not be in the public sector, we're in the private sector. So we want to ask ourselves, what is our role? What have we played? What role have we played in ensuring that we have a nation that we can all be proud of? It is important that we ask ourselves those key questions, because that is really the reason, the way we can get the kind of patriotism, the kind of enthusiasm, the kind of pride that we're looking for as a nation. We cannot hide under the cover of saying that we blame the president, we blame the governors, we blame the legislators. Let us also blame ourselves, because each and every one of us in our various small cells and fields of endeavor, even as a cleaner in this place, you are adding value. You are adding value to society. So my call is that it's a wake-up call for all of us. Whether you're in politics, please join politics. I strongly believe that everybody should be concerned, because we can all see now that if you look back, we are all suffering the effect of not paying attention to what our leaders are doing. We need to ask for transparency. We need to ask for accountability. No leader is doing us a favor. I also want to say that there is no leader that is greater than Nigeria or our democracy. So no matter how embittered we are with any leader, I agree that it should be 5 years and then they go, everybody. But within those 5 years, we cannot truncate democracy because we do not like some particular people. So we must make sure that at the end of the day, our nation remains one. I agree, like I said, that Christians should join. But most importantly, we should not overlook our youth. They are the ones that are really the future of this nation. There is a disconnect. I hear the president oftentimes say that there is a disconnect between society and the youth at this time, because they are all really in a quandary. They don't know where they fit in. So my appeal is that quite apart from Christians coming out, we also need our youth to participate fully and effectively. We all saw the effect of NSAS, and we saw what is possible. The youth have the numbers, they have the skills, they have the versatility. So they are a veritable source that nobody can overlook. Let us get our youths involved. It's all well and good to say everybody should join politics. It's a long and arduous process. Before the last elections, we tried to see the third force come into effect, and it was a difficult process. So as Christians are called to come out, let us know that it is a long haul, but it is something that is doable, because we really need people of God to be in place of service. If we have people of God in place of service, we cannot have the kind of injustice that we see. We cannot have the kind of lack of sensibility to our neighbors. So we all really need to brace up and make our contributions to the building of our nation, Nigeria.
Thank you.
The last thing I want to talk about is, I heard your points on constitutional reviews and restructuring. I was Attorney General 17 or 18 years ago. As Attorney General, we submitted all kinds of documents for the review of the Constitution, for restructuring, and for all of that. Nearly 20 years later, we're still talking about it. Let us not be fooled or hoodwinked by the politicians. Whatever kind of documents we have, we can still excel as a nation. Yes, there is a need to tinker, but we need to be more attentive. Even the reviews that are currently going on, everybody is kind of shut out. It's really circulating among the politicians. And the same reviews we're having now, if we're not careful, we will have it again in the next 5 years. Yeah. So there is a need for us to know that it is really not the documents that we are using that is the problem. It is the intent to be fair and to do good and to even abide and obey. My brother George was saying that JUSUN is on strike because we're not obeying the provisions of the Constitution. So even the one we have, we're not obeying. So let's not fool ourselves and get carried away with all those technicalities that they put around us. Let us have our eyes to the ground and ask that the right things be done so that our children, when I was looking at 1993, I remember that my son was born in 1993. He's 28 years old. If the kind of devotion we give to our children, our families, we give it to our nation will be a better place. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your words of inspiration. I believe that I want to add to your 20 requests points of what we want. And mine is that we want that at the end of the day, everything that we're doing here, we're going to have to be able to show it to our political leaders and show it to ourselves. And we will all uphold those that will make our nation stronger. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dame Aderuchi Kukigam. Just to add to what you just said, there's a post-event bit of the forum. We are going to issue a communique today, and after that, we will go ahead and push the communique to different stakeholders, both in government, in the industries, and to the international communities as well. So we have all that thought out, and the action plan is in place as we speak. So I would like to call on Engineer Obi Ilanosi to give us his thoughts.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'll start by thanking Barrister Itomi for the brilliant presentation, which we all listened to. And of course, in his presentation, we saw the trend of the importance of oil as it used to be. And then the trend began, went up and then started coming down. The coming down means that whatever oil was bringing for us before is going. And that is a fact. There's an expression called stranded assets. In the next few years, oil will become what is called in economics stranded asset. And that means that the assets, at first we were afraid oil will finish. It's no longer about oil finishing. It is now about the usefulness of oil finishing. And if an asset is still there and is no longer useful, it is stranded. Who talks about coal now in Nigeria? Do you know that the city called Enugu was built because of coal? Do we still talk about that? It's gone. And whether we like it or not, even if you continue producing oil, there will be no people to buy them. Today, a lot of countries have enacted laws that will make it almost difficult for you to sell your oil. Denmark stopped issuing licenses for new oil exploration in the North Sea. France and a lot of other countries have set deadline where they will no longer use fossil fuel. In other words, the electric cars being built will take over. And the World Bank, for example, stopped funding oil businesses since 2019. So you may never have funds to develop them again. What will that mean? That means that the reliance of our economy on oil is going, especially from the foreign exchange, as explained by Barrister Itomi. And then what are the consequences? It's showing already a lot of unemployed youth. So many of them everywhere. And that's manifesting in criminality, which we are all noticing. If you are busy, they will not steal. A lot of them will not steal. So if we don't do anything at all, we're going to run into a lot of more problems. Let me take you, I know that Governor Mackinday talked about our not going back to nostalgia, but I think I'll go back a little just to situate things for us. Cocoa House in Ibadan was not built with oil money. The granite pyramids we used to know about in North were not built with oil money. And coming to the east, as he explained, where we have palm oil, do you know that Nigeria produced 43% of the world palm oil in the early 60s? Malaysia began commercial palm oil production in 1917. Less than 50 years after, they overtook Nigeria. Palm oil is native to West Africa. This is where God put it. Every other place you see palm oil in the world, they came to take it here. Of course, the story of Malaysia, we all know. And as far back as today, the rank of Nigeria in palm oil production is at number 28. Our neighbors over there, Benin Republic, you know their rank? They're ranked 10th in palm oil production. And not only the rank, they just make up the whole land area of Benin, just about 12% of Nigeria's size. And their population is less than 7% of Nigeria. And they are ranked number 10. You see, I'll give you another example. Thailand, what do we know Thailand for? I think it's rice. A lot of rice comes from Thailand, and we love it. Yes, because they have cultivated over nearly 10 million hectares of land dedicated to rice farming. In addition to that, they are ranked number 7 in the world in palm oil production, which is supposed to be our area of strength. I'm saying this because the past was good, and we can aim to reenact what was here in the past. We can, and I think we can do it. I think, let me just suggest a few things. To move forward, we have a lot of youth that are not employed. Some of them are graduates of aeronautics engineering, nuclear physics, and all sorts of things we may never use here in the near future. And then what I think is this: there should be conscious effort by governments to mobilize this youth. Anybody who is a graduate can be taught commercial farming in a matter of 3 months. They can be gotten together, trained on commercial farming. Within 3 months, they'll become practical. And I think these things are very, very possible. Agriculture is the future, whether we like it or not. Whether you know about it or you don't know, the fact remains that if we mobilize our youth and give dignity to agriculture and make it something people should be proud of, and make sure they get something out of it by going into it, I think we'll go ahead. So that's my take on it. All I can say is that we have, I think, 923,000 square kilometers of arable land in Nigeria. And every part of the land in Nigeria grows grass. And anywhere grass can grow, food can grow. We need to mobilize all of us back into action. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to call on Sir William Park to give us his thoughts on the security.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Yes, thank you for directing me to my constituency. I'd like to appreciate Dr. Naikomo, who is a very good professional. I listened to him trace part of our problems from the North African side and Central Africa, where they have had a lot of unrest and other things. But the situation in Nigeria is not being helped. As at the last count, we have over 1,400 illegal routes. And they are not policed because these are not the approved border entry points. It is important as we go forward that the nation should start using some technological monitoring and surveillance equipment to cover these areas that are indeed quite far and apart. I equally want to say that the escalation of security, as you have mentioned, is as a result of injustice. It's a result of marginalization. It's as a result of unemployment and such things. But my worry is, where is our intelligence community? You hear that they have abducted school children from this school, and the next day it happens in another school. There has been an attack here, and the next day it happens. Where are our intelligence community? Is it that they do not have knowledge of the threats to the nation or threat situation, or there is a deliberate effort to sabotage, or that intelligence have been gathered but not promptly delivered, or it was delivered and maybe somebody somewhere, because of primordial feelings, have refused using it, either out of sympathy to the terrorists or to the criminals. There is a need to rejig our intelligence community architecture to include our traditional rulers, civil society, and non-state actors like you've mentioned, including licensed security companies. If they do this, they are likely to get more information that will indeed mitigate a lot of the threats we are having. But in doing so, my appeal is that the informants should indeed be protected. But because most people that have given security information have met fatalities because they have been betrayed by government security forces or agencies. So I think that there should be a retraining program for our intelligence community operators to go from the conventional way of gathering information to this guerrilla and asymmetric situation that we have ourselves. And in doing so, I think that we'll have a better security. But having said so, the other issue I see is the political space. What we have now in our country is after every election, the winner takes it all. And so you have those that have been defeated, nursing the wounds of their defeat, and then gathering their supporters in planning how to make the state ungovernable. And they create those situations that make a harvesting ground for terrorists or insurgents or criminals to pick from their disgruntled or discontented fellows. I think that time has come that after election should be governance, and that governance should be a government that is inclusive, not just my own party. Going forward, have we ever imagined why INEC buildings are being burnt all over the place? Because those that are discontented, those that are indeed vexed, see it or see them as the state symbol for their deprivation, for bad governance, for marginalization, for indeed cheating them from their mandate. It is important that as we go towards 2023 and go forward, that we should have an electoral instrument that should have integrity. When it comes, supported by the kind of thing Barrister Itomi has said, good laws or good institutions that you can count on. And people will know that, yes, my vote counts. And because my vote counts, this election has been won fair and square. In doing so, I think that we would have a lot of mileage. I see my president trying to give signs. We don't seem to have plenty of time to talk about other things. But I think that dialogue in everything is important. It's important that we jaw rather than war, and the whole country will be better for it. But going back to our Reverend and Professor, I'd like to thank you. And I thank the fact that you are a theologian and you have told us to arise. Christians should arise. Let us begin to arise in writing canon laws that will be the equivalent of their own Sharia laws. If the country has to accommodate a particular religion, then the Christians should start ahead of time preparing for it. Not when they say it's time, and then you say you are setting a committee to write such laws. The time is now.
Thank you. Thank you.
And finally, I'd like to appeal to the government to have the political will, the commitment to indeed know that the country is in danger because of the insecurity. Without security, there will not be any investment, whether you are leaving oil or you are going to agriculture.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm supposed to be speaking on the paper by Mrs. Awoshika, and you will agree with me that she did a very, very wonderful job with that paper. Generally, when we talk about harnessing the economic, the potentials of Nigeria, emphasis had always been on the enormous natural resources that we have in the country, especially oil and other products. But I'm very happy that at this time, we are thinking differently. The richest resource that we have in this country today, as identified by her, is the people. 200 million of us. Can you imagine if these 200 million people have the ability to spend $10,000 a year, what this country would have been like? The basis of every economy is a very simple law of economics, the law of demand and supply. Demand and supply for goods and services by the people. The demand for goods and services stimulates investment by entrepreneurs, as has been said by the presenter. Entrepreneurs bring in investment, investment creates jobs, jobs pay money, money buys goods and services, which goes back again to create more demand and supply, and you have the entire value chain that money travels through. That is what brings economic prosperity. What happens when there is a dislocation, when that investment cannot come in? I'll give you a very simple example. Palm oil. 200 million Nigerians, at least 150 million of us use palm oil and its products every day. Nigeria, the figures vary. Nigeria is said to be producing between 900 and 1 million tons of palm oil, but we require between 1.4 and 1.5 million barrels, million tons a year. There is a dislocation. Demand outstrips supply. There is a gap in investment that has not been filled. Once you have this gap in investment that has not been filled, what happens? You import from those who have made the investment. As of today, Nigeria spends $500 million to import palm oil and its derivative every year. The equivalent of that is production from about 100,000 hectares of oil palm plantation, which should have been employing about 500,000 Nigerians. In other words, we are putting 500,000 Nigerians out of work and paying Malaysians and Indonesians $500 million a year. That is what happens when you don't take into account the assets you have, the people. The presenter, Mrs. Awoshika, also identified land. It's like some people will say, water, 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 and no water to drink. We have abundant supply of land, available land, arable land, highly diversified by geography, with the result that we can practically grow anything all year round, yet we import food. Why is that so? Again, we haven't had entrepreneurs with the ability to invest, to cultivate the land in a way that it brings maximum returns. You cannot live on subsistence farming anymore. Your population have outgrown that. What is required is investment in technology, such that the same piece of land can give you 10 times more in terms of output with what you are getting now. Unfortunately, again, we have failed to harness this potential. Potential is nothing if you don't work the work. It is useless. Oil, oil, oil. Oil remaining on the ground is as useless as the ground on which it's standing. Until you spawn the wells, you develop the wells, you produce the oil, then it becomes useful. Outside that, it remains what it is, a potential. If you don't harness this, your potential, then you are just wasting your time. And unfortunately, that's where we have found ourselves in this country. There is no deliberate effort to develop entrepreneurship in our country. And it's very sad. I remember many years ago, I recommended to a state that we should develop an ICT hub, an ICT center. What is required is just the social infrastructure and the internet facility so that every young man or woman can come in there in the day, plug in their PCs, their laptops, and do what they can do. How many people could we have produced today from that? Only God knows. Unfortunately, we have failed to realize that there are emerging industries. Look at our country today. Young boys will be carrying computers. The police will harass them. It's an irony of life. In other parts of the world, those boys and girls are celebrated. We must realize that for us to harness the potentials, we must begin to think differently. There are traditional industries that are there, what Mrs. Awosika calls the hardware industries. We must recognize their importance, but we must also recognize that the times are changing. And she gave a practical example with the entertainment industry. Think about it. If today state governments can build entertainment hubs where the instruments that these young boys and girls need to produce music, to develop their talent, are readily available to them. This industry has grown with little or no support from government or even the finance sector. It has been self-driven. You can imagine what they could have done if we had had some little help. All that we are saying here is that we must begin to plan long-term. Times are changing. In those days, when we do math, physics, that was the order of the day. You must read medicine, you must read engineering. But times are changing. We must make deliberate effort to realize that there are emerging industries and that these industries are the industries of the future. We must train our people. We must know that whatever infrastructure we are putting in place, such infrastructure must be people-oriented and people-driven. My professor in economics many years used to say that something is first-order condition. It's necessary but not sufficient. Social and economic infrastructure are first-order condition for economic development. They are necessary, but they are not sufficient. We must put our thinking hats and begin to do things differently. And I'm sure by the grace of God, we'll come to the Nigeria of our dream. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Please, can we put our hands together for him? That was Isaac Okemini. I didn't just remember. I knew it before. Let me quickly call on Elder Henry Onua.
I know if I don't say this, then many people will know I'm not here. But I am here. Praise the Lord. It's an international forum, but Jesus and God Almighty is the highest. And we must honor him and praise him. Yes, I'll be speaking on D.K. Chukwumeriji's presentation very quickly. And he spoke a lot even though a lot of us didn't hear what he was saying. But you notice that there are three things he mentioned: those who have given up on Nigeria, those who are still conflicted, and the last part, which is those who believe in Nigeria. And that is where I stand. And he also mentioned something about what we need to do: forgiveness. He talked about a willingness to learn, talked about realigning our political attitude and behavior and association. And fourthly, he said, build on the ideals of our founding fathers, not their politics. I want to stand there and make my comment. And it's because the founding fathers had wonderful, wonderful background for us. And one key area that I want to go because of time is to talk about the youths. The youths. By Nigerian youth policy, youth is from the ages of 15 to 29, 30. Previously, by 2009, it was from the ages of 18 to 35. And in that case, there are two things that are bifurcated. We are talking about from 15 to 30 or thereabout. What about from 0 to 14? 0 to 14 means that they are still children and they are in our care, father and mother. So the family has a part to play. The family has a part to play, and anybody who also knows my ministry will know that if I don't mention the family here, I have not landed. The family has a part to play. So it's the governmental part and then the family part. The family today is broken down, and we are having so many challenges as family members. So for us to now bring up our children from 0 to 14, we have to play our part as fathers and mothers and as parents. Now, from 15 up, then the government policy comes in. And there's this thing they call the youth policy. The youth policy. The youth policy came up in the reverse version was written in 2019, approved in 2019. It's a beautiful policy. It's about 111 pages. But the truth of the matter now is that the youths have a serious problem, and we need to harness it. There are a few things I need to mention. There are certain things that was said by some of our past presidents. One of them said that without the youths, in fact, the youths are the future of the country, but he did nothing. He practically did nothing. So what can we do to take these children, these youths out of the market? There are certain things that a lot of the speakers have mentioned. I will just take the ones that probably they left out or they forgot. One of them is investment in sports and sports infrastructure. A lot of us don't know what we call sports business. There's a sports business different from sports. And that in that sports business, it is the youths that are there. There are thousands and hundreds of them. Sports, the government is supposed to create the infrastructure for sports, then the sports business aspect is making money out of the sports. And once the infrastructure is there, it's very easy to make money. A lot of us don't know that when a football match is going on, just in the stadium alone, guess the amount of money that is transferring, that is changing hands. And a lot of our youth are talented. They are talented and they are wasting away. And that is why they have a lot of time to be involved in certain things that they shouldn't be involved. Guess somebody who's playing volleyball and is being paid little amount, like 100,000. She goes in the morning, like 6:37, practices till about 11, 12. When the person gets home, what do you think he will do? What do you think the person will do? He will rest. So if you have all of them like that, there are so many of them, we will pack them, so many, out of the unemployment market, and they will have something visible to be doing. Something has been mentioned about agriculture. Yes, I just want to make a comment there. Agriculture, the way it has been designed, the way it has been packaged is not attractive to the youths. Look at it this way. You have a very big expanse of land. You make it available for the youths to do all the agricultural products. Then you provide a football field. You also make it possible for them to have access to internet. and make it possible for them in the evening to watch Premiership. To watch Premiership, the youth, they will go there. They will practice the agriculture and results will come out. And a lot of them will be seriously engaged. One other issue that I really want to mention here is also about the youth population that we have. By the census that we have, Nigeria has one of the biggest population, we are the biggest in Africa. Then in terms of youth population, the average age here is 18.4, 18 years, 4 months. That makes Nigeria the 18th most populated youth population in the entire world. Can you see the critical mass that we are wasting away? The critical mass that we can use positively to enhance all that has been said here and achieve results. Now, let me give you some statistics. Have you noticed that a lot of our youths, we are not using them? Can somebody tell me what your average? Okay, let me start from here. A lot of us now are interested. Thank you. A lot of us are interested in going for holidays in Kigali. That had 2C and other fights some time ago. It's been developed so serious that we go on holidays there. Guess what their average minister age is? Average. It is 47.5. Guess the average age for our own ministers in Nigeria. Who can guess? It's 61. 61. Go and check. So look at what a 47.5 can produce and what a 61 can produce. Their minister for ICT and innovation is a woman. A lady, she's about 38. And the youngest is 31. She's also a woman. In that cabinet, they have 50% of women. And they are producing. In our own case, we have let out our youth, and what we are supposed to be using them for, we are not using them. So, my dear, for getting out of here is for government to ensure that one of the main ways to get our unemployment down and move these children out of the road, move them out of the reach of the criminals, is to get them engaged and get them engaged in the things that they can do, in the things that they like. My brother was mentioning ICT. I didn't want to say much about that because I know that's my field. She said something about our internet was not working. See, there is a fiber passing through here, I know. But to cross to this place, if you know how much it will cost, the different state governments have different what we call road fees. To dig the ground, you will pay through your nose. So fiber cannot get into the interior. This ICT park is a wonderful way to get the youth to work. And we are supposed to have ICT park, I agree with you, in every local government. I saw the other day, they were saying that by 2023, they want to have 90% of broadband penetration into Nigeria. I laughed because I am in industry. It's not possible because we have not, the infrastructure to get there is not on ground now. It's not. Do you know what it is to bring fiber here? Even here in Port Harcourt, the ICT park that is down there, we put the what is called the fiber link there. I know a lot about it. So there are so many things that can be done. Wonderful things that can be done. The ICT area is one massive area that our youths can be taken and they will be so engaged. Do you know what it is to do marketing, digital marketing? Your children sit down at home, they don't have work, they are marketing all over the world, and they are making money. They are making money and not worrying their parents, and they are contributing to the GDP of Nigeria. And yet we want to shut them down. May the Lord help us. I say, may the Lord help us. Thank you very much.
The Forum 2022, a one-day international colloquium with a theme, What Do Nigerians Want? Discussions will focus on the president Nigeria needs, restructuring and true federalism, the state of insecurity in Nigeria, the economy Nigeria needs to break forth, and more. Keynote speakers, Ifesimama Precious Sekebo, FCIB, PhD, Professor Oyelowo E. Oyewo, SAN, Dr. Ambassador Victoria Ekomo, and Pastor Itwa Igudalo. Date, Monday, 13th June 2022. Time, 11 a.m. Venue, Aztec Acom Event Center, 77 Ken Saruwiwa Road, Former Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. For more details, call 0704-213-2217 or 0817-966-8251. Visit the website www.theforumnigeria.com. The Forum.